any other board member in regard to this? I'm not hearing anything.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Can Trustee Bear repeat his motion for me?
Yes, this is to suspend discussion on the item number 10 on the agenda. Discussion, introduction and first read of an ordinance creating an advisory water board. I think that is not a time-sensitive issue, and we can talk about at a meeting when we have public forum.
Thank you.
Yeah, essentially that is a motion to table item 10, I believe. Hopefully this won't cause too much disruption, but is there any comment in regard to this motion from members of the public? If you want to speak, you're going to need to identify yourself before speaking. And if we have more than one person that wishes to speak, we're going to have to sort through it because I do not have video of members of the public that are in attendance by phone. Do we have any member of the public wish to speak specifically in regard to the motion to table the ordinance regarding creating a water committee?
There is a hand
You
up.
do have a hand up, Charles.
Okay, and that is who?
In attendees, there is a phone call in.
Right.
Let me,
Could you identify yourself and make your comment?
they're muted. Hold on just a moment. Okay.
Okay, hi. This is Suzanne Watson. And just to kind of illustrate perhaps what Trustee Bear is alluding, I don't know what he's alluding to specifically, but even when he was describing his reasoning, I found it very difficult to understand his words just listening to him over the phone. And it's also a little confusing knowing if you're going to be listened to when you make a comment. So I would, as a member of the public, I would support his wish to suspend this until we're communicating a little bit better, either in person at a meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. Do we have any other member of the public wishes to speak in regard to this?
Yes,
And that is who?
Pamela Jackson, and I just totally agree with what Suzanne just said.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Any other member of the public? I'm hearing nothing further. We have a motion and a second to table item 10, which is ordinance 2020 to be determined, introduction and first read on an ordinance creating an advisory water committee of the town. We will need a roll call vote.
Trustee Backren?
Aye.
Trustee Bear?
Aye.
Trustee Budinger?
Aye.
Trustee Deal?
Aye.
Trustee Knudsen?
Aye.
Trustee Pattison?
Okay, that motion passes, and now the issue is approving the agenda as amended. Let's take a roll call vote on approving the agenda as amended.
Trustee Backren?
Aye.
Trustee Bear?
Aye.
Trustee Budinger?
Aye.
Trustee Deal?
Aye.
Trustee Knudsen?
Aye.
Trustee Pattison?
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. The agenda has been amended. The next item on the agenda is announcements. Other than saying congratulations to all the candidates that won election last Tuesday, I don't have any announcements per se, other than letting the winners know that we will be swearing them in at our next meeting, and I'm looking forward to a positive transition to the new board. Does any other board member have any announcement that they would like to make at this time? Yes, Trustee Bachman.
Well, first off, do we still have that little hand thing that we can do to raise our hands?
Yeah, actually, I think if you raise your hand visually, it's extremely helpful to me.
Okay.
So if you would do so, I would definitely appreciate it.
Okay. I have a couple of announcements. First off, there are free masks in the lobby of Town Hall. You're welcome to come and take what you want. As of 11 o'clock this morning, there were about 60 masks available. I'm not sure what there's now. Anyhow, it is free to anyone to come and protect yourself. The second is the BLM finally released their final resource management plan. And it really did not take into account any of our comments, any of our suggestions over the past 10 plus years of working on this thing. So it's a very disappointing document. I have spoken to both the Conservation Center and CHC about possible responses the town could give. I would like the board to possibly consider writing a protest letter to the BLM and CCing Senator Bennett on this. The Conservation Center, said they would be happy to help us draft the letter if we chose to do that.
Any other announcements from any board member? Yes, Trustee Knudsen.
I noticed that the newly elected Tammy Meck only beat me by 2 votes, and I'm not going to demand a recount.
Any other announcements from any board member? I am not hearing any. We will move forward. Next item on the agenda is visitors and guests. This is an opportunity for visitors to address the board on a matter that is not on the agenda. I will allow you no more than 5 minutes. If you wish to speak, you're going to need to identify yourself and state your address. Do we have any member of the community that wishes to address the board on a matter that is not on tonight's agenda? Okay, I am not up. We do have
Hello?
some. Please identify yourself.
Okay. Hi, it's Suzanne Watson. It's a little confusing. Okay, I wanted to speak to the meeting protocol and standards of conduct that were in the packet. And we have a rules and procedures as adopted by resolution number 2017-10. And it does talk about public comment and the comment on the code and the conduct, let's say. And I think this sheet, while it's helpful to have, I think it really embellishes on 2017-10 in a way that really starts, I fear, intruding on First Amendment rights potentially. For instance, in the resolution it says comments shall be directed to the mayor or presiding officer. Comments or questions shall be confined to the agenda item or issues under discussion. That's for the agenda topic comments. And the speaker should offer factual information and refrain from obscene language and personal attacks. Well, it's not really dictating, it's offering a suggestion. And in Section 9, it says unacceptable behavior, disruptive behavior shall result in expulsion from the meeting. The sheet that we have in front of us really is clear. It says speakers are not allowed to make belligerent, accusatory, impertinent, slanderous, threatening, abusive, or disparaging comments. I looked some of these words up in the dictionary. What do you call accusatory? What do you call impertinent? Impertinent, other definitions are cheeky, sassy, or saucy. So, you know, when people are commenting, sometimes things come out, and especially in the public comment period, people do have a right to express views by the First Amendment. I'm also wondering about the public comment period will not be used to make political endorsements or for political campaign purposes. Well, who's determining if someone's posturing? I don't think we had a problem with this before the election, and I don't see why it's necessary to put this in here. I would like to see information on here, perhaps a little bit more about how the remote meetings are held, how you might see us. Do we have to identify our names? Are we anonymous before we're called on? How many times can we call? How are you going to honor the time limit? Will you give us a warning after 3 minutes, or do you just hang up on people? I think just defining the mechanics of the remote meeting would be very helpful. And not to be cheeky, saucy, or sassy, but another thing we might ask is, can we flush the toilet while we're commenting? I'm kind of kidding, but I just have some problems with that. One other question I have is, and maybe the town attorney can answer it. It said that the people who disobey will be removed from the board meeting pursuant to Colorado revised statutes. And I'm wondering what statutes specifically are being referred to. Thank you.
Okay. It is our practice not to get into debate regarding comments that are made during the visitors and guests portion of the agenda. Obviously, all the board members heard your comments, and they can decide what, if anything, they may wish to do. Do we have anyone else that wishes to address the board on a matter that is not on tonight's agenda?
Yeah.
Yes.
Deborah Spiegel, 255 Orchard. So a while back we had a topic at a meeting on the dogs, and then we had a special committee meeting about the dogs, and some ideas came up for a resolution. And I'm curious to know how long out in the future that would be brought up at a board meeting.
Obviously what we don't want to do is get into wide range discussions on a whole bunch of matters that are not on the agenda.
Right.
Obviously, given the circumstance, it's pretty hard to predict when a lot of items will be covered. Because at least right now, what we're trying to do is deal with those items that have to be addressed. An example being Trustee Bear's motion at the very beginning to remove something that was not time sensitive. So given the current circumstance, it's kind of hard to tell when those items will be addressed by the board. Obviously, we need to continue to do business, but this is indeed a strange time, and how rapidly those things will be dealt with is hard to say. Do you have anyone else that wishes to address the board on a matter that is not on tonight's agenda? Okay, I am hearing no one. We will move forward. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. We have 4 items on the consent agenda: the regular minute meetings from March 10th, the special meeting minutes from April 2nd, the special meeting minutes from April 6th, and the Thomas Waldo Tavern LLC liquor license renewal. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I have some comments specific to the March 10th meeting minutes.
Okay.
If we can break that out.
Sure, that would be fine. At this point, we don't have a motion on the table. Let's see if we can get a motion on the table first.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Trustee Patterson first.
So on the March 10th meeting minutes, under the mayor's report, there was a discussion about the liaison group. And I wanted to make sure that that just doesn't fall off the radar. It's not an actual change to the minutes, but just to make sure it doesn't disappear.
Yeah, it's just so everybody knows, it's not off the radar. However, the reality is this: it seems inappropriate for me to make that appointment when in 2 weeks we will have a new mayor that will have the authority to make that appointment. And so that is my rationale. We actually debated whether to put it on the agenda tonight. And the bottom line was I felt that that is an appointment that the new mayor should be making. Yes,
Okay.
Trustee Budinger.
In the March 10 minutes, under disbursements, there was a motion for Crane Ferguson to be able to sign checks. I want to make sure that that is for that one time only. It doesn't say that. And so
Okay.
if we could just add for the one time only.
Okay. Anything else? Yes. Trustee
Under,
Deal.
under the consent, oh wait, that's not it, hold on. There's one in here that doesn't record my vote at all. It doesn't show that I voted. It's on the, I think it's on the 10th.
No.
Do you know exactly where that is?
It's for the dark skies. For the proposed ordinance of the board scheduled work session. My vote's not recorded.
And what was your vote?
I believe that one was, hold on, let me look back through it. I think that one was the nay vote.
Okay. And I take it that that did not change the outcome of anything?
No, it didn't.
Okay. Any other questions, corrections? Yes, Trustee Patterson.
So same meeting, March 10th, under the new business Clark Alley Sewer. In my notes, the resolution 2020-04 was approved contingent on Roop Excavating's acceptance of the release agreement, and I did not see that in the minutes.
Okay. Any other questions or changes? Okay. What I'm going to ask for is a motion to amend the main motion to add or make these three changes. Essentially, that the motion to authorize Administrator Ferguson to sign checks was a one-time event to include the vote of Trustee Deal, and also to specify that the Clark sewer approval was contingent on route. What specifically was it contingent on, Trustee Patterson?
So in my notes, I had that it was contingent upon Roop Excavating's acceptance of the release agreement.
Okay. Okay, I would entertain a motion to amend the main motion to make those three changes.
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to amend the main motion.
We have a second on that. Yes. Trustee Bill? Trustee Bear?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion on the part of the board in terms of the motion to amend the main motion? I'm not hearing anything. We'll need a roll call vote.
Trustee Backren?
Aye.
Trustee Bear?
Aye.
Trustee Budinger?
Aye.
Trustee Deal? Trustee Deal?
Aye.
Trustee Knudsen?
Aye.
Trustee Patterson?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. So the main motion as amended is to approve the consent agenda with the three changes to the minutes. Any further discussion from the board? I am hearing none. We'll need a roll call on the main motion as amended.
Trustee Backren?
Aye.
Trustee Bear,
Aye.
Trustee Bettinger,
Aye.
Trustee Deal,
Aye.
Trustee Knudsen,
Aye.
Trustee Pattison.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries and the consent agenda is approved with the 3 changes to the minutes. Next item on the agenda is the mayor's report. I have nothing to report, so we'll move forward with staff reports. Administrator Ferguson.
Just have a few things. The first thing I wanted to provide was an updated report that I received today from Delta County as far as the Delta County daily update for COVID testing. Currently, as of about 5 o'clock this evening, Delta County is reporting 5 additional cases for Delta County, bringing the total to 12 cases. They have performed 168 tests at Delta County Memorial Hospital. 162 returned negative, 2 were positive, 4 are pending, 1 positive is currently hospitalized, and we have had 1 passing in the county. Also, we've had approximately $1,115 in fees offset with the board approval of waiving late fees and waiving and crediting the online payment option. I just wanted to provide a reminder to the public that the town is still accepting LEAP applications, approvals for additional utility relief. You can apply for LEAP through the month of April. We have printed applications and provided them in the display case right inside the front office doors, which are remaining unlocked so that people can access the free masks and can access agendas and packets and other materials. I've now placed them right inside the door. It's a little bit better. You can also access the application at colorado.gov. The streetlight delivery for the streetlight upgrade is still set for June. Once the lights are received by DMEA, they'll contact us to schedule the installation. Also wanted to let the board know that the completed light repairs in Town Hall have already shown a difference in our utility bill. I was contacted by DMEA because they were concerned that we were not using any electricity all of a sudden at our meter, and have received the information necessary to upgrade our meter to a net meter so that the offset from our solar panels can be tracked, and we're actually making electricity for DMEA, which they're storing up instead of actually using it. So that was an interesting fact. So we'll continue to work on that. I also wanted to let the board know that I've received the agreement from SGM Engineering, which I'm reviewing prior to scheduling the asset inventory kickoff meeting with Public Works. And that's all I have.
Questions for Administrator Ferguson from members of the board? I'm not seeing anything. Questions from the public for Administrator Ferguson in regard to the things that she has reported on? Do we have anyone that wishes to?
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Watson.
This is Suzanne Watson. I was wondering, Corinne, is any of the savings on the electricity because the town hall is shut down right now and we're just not holding as many meetings or events in the conference room?
No, I don't believe so. And other than the evening use for conference meetings, we're all still in the office. We're just staggering our schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the public for
I have a
Administrator
quick
Ferguson?
question.
Yes, please identify yourself.
Pamela Jackson, do you have a drop box where we can just drop our water bills off?
Right next to the front doors to the left, there's a brown box next to the display case.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from members of the public for Administrator Ferguson?
Yes.
I am not hearing any. We will move.
Yes, we have
forward.
another hand up. Apologies.
Okay.
No,
Please
I was
identify
trying to
yourself.
hang up. I wasn't sure if I was muted or unmuted. It wasn't clear, so I just tried pressing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the public for Administrator Ferguson? I am not hearing anything. Public Works, Mr. Loberg.
We're working on the intersection of Second and Grand, trying to get of a new storm drain and cost of doing that intersection into concrete. Been working on that for a couple weeks now, and should have numbers by next board meeting for that. We still are doing street cleaning and trying to keep up with the potholes, and working on alleys quite a bit right now where we can do that. There's not as many people out. And then we've also started work on the parks. We should be getting water next week. So we're trying to get caught up with that, making sure all the sprinklers are working and just maintenance before we get water. And that's all I've got, unless you guys have any questions.
Questions from members of the board for Mr. Loberg? Yes, Trustee Bear.
The status of the street sweeper, where are we at with that?
It is repaired. I just haven't made it down to get it picked up yet.
When do you think you might be doing that?
I'm hoping to get down there tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from members of the board for Mr. Loberg? I am not seeing anything. Questions from members of the public in regard to what Mr. Loberg has reported on? I'm not hearing anything. We will move forward. Public Safety, Chief Ferguson.
Sorry, Charles, we do have a hand up from the public.
Okay.
I was muted.
Okay, please go ahead and identify yourself and ask your question.
Okay.
Must have changed their mind. Okay, Public Safety, Chief Ferguson.
Officers are conducting business as usual. We did hire our clerk for the position of the Police Department and Public Works. Her name is Joanne Katzer. She's a Paonia native. She started last week and has been doing a fantastic job so far. I think it was going to be a very good hire. I think she brings a lot to Paonia. We also have 4 letters of interest for the judge position. We are hopefully going to start some virtual meetings in May and have a recommendation for the board, hopefully the last meeting in May, so that way we can get them sitting before our first municipal court in June. The people that we're going to be hopefully using for the panel is our town attorney, the town administrator, a member of the Public Safety Committee, and myself for to figure out who we're going to go ahead and recommend. And that's all I have.
Questions for Chief Ferguson from members of the board? I'm not hearing anything. Anything from the public for Chief Ferguson regarding the things that he has reported on?
Hello?
Yes, please identify yourself.
Okay. This is Suzanne. I'd like to wait until if anybody else had questions for Chief Ferguson, because I actually got run over when I had a question for Travis. And I guess I had my hand up, but for some reason it wasn't recognized.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't you go ahead and ask your question to Mr. Loberg?
Okay. I was wondering, where can we see the plans or the design for the 2nd Street and Grand Avenue project that's being proposed?
There's not any really set of plans. We've just been going off a set of drawings, and there's nothing going to change with the design of it. It's just going to add 2 storm boxes to collect water and then concrete that intersection or asphalt it back.
Okay, but there are no physical changes to the sidewalk or the ramps or anything. It's just an addition of storm drainage and perhaps a different paving material.
Correct.
And is there an underlying water problem under the cement or the asphalt that's there, or is all that pothole damage from surface water?
As far as I know, it's from surface water, and until we break up the asphalt, I'm not sure if there's a base underneath the asphalt. Talking
Okay.
with another contractor, we're thinking there's probably not a base. They just paved over existing material.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions for Chief Ferguson in regard to the things that Chief Ferguson reported on? If there's a member of public wishes to ask a question to Chief Ferguson, you need to identify yourself. Okay, I am hearing nothing. We will move forward. Is Treasurer King on the line perchance? Doesn't appear to be.
He's
Ms.
not,
Jones?
but I'm sorry, Charles, it's Cindy. I am going to do the report for him.
Please go ahead.
We went over disbursements, payroll, and the AMCO information this afternoon. The Treasurer King would like to express that he would like to approve AMCO, and the audit is moving forward. We're in that answering questions stage, and that's all for my report. Thank you.
Questions from members of the board for Ms. Jones? I am not seeing anything. Any questions from members of the public for Ms. Jones in regard to the things that she has commented on? I'm not hearing anyone. We will move forward. Next item is disbursements. I would entertain a motion to approve disbursements.
Karen, do you want to do that or do you want me to?
Would you do that, Dave? My computer is not working too well.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve accounts payable in the amount of $43,200.74, a transfer to payroll of $21,183.26, a second payroll for $17,617.24, a transfer to the Conservation Trust of $1,803.80, payroll taxes for 3/27. That would be March 27th of $18,553.75. Payroll taxes for the following pay period, April 10th of $7,002.47. A payroll direct deposit of $21,183.26. And that was for the March 27th. A payroll direct deposit for April 10th of $17,617.24. And finally, approving credit card charges of $4,100.30.
Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
Discussion from members of the board. Yes, Trustee Bear.
A few questions on the expenses, on the disbursements. The two Southwest systems bills, one for $11.75 and the other for $6.74. What are those for?
My notes show the storm drain is the first one and a sewer plug was the second one.
The storm drain meaning what, Travis?
Cleaning.
Cleaning the storm drain? Okay. The second question concerns the credit card charges. Let me get to that page. The charge for $1,303 for govx.inc. What is that?
Is that the vest, Cindy?
Ms. Jones?
That the credit card for 13 is for the scopes for the police department for the new guns.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions regarding disbursements from members of the board? Yes, Trustee Deal.
I have a couple of questions. The My Best Cellular on the credit card, What are those for?
We're changing some of our cell phones out, and so there's initial charges that are a little high. The best cellular ones are closing out those. We're getting new cell phones, and the way Sprint works, the cell phone charges, we'll be getting a credit in a subsequent bill for those charges that you see for Sprint.
Okay, and what about Needle Rock Brewing Company?
We had officers go down to the trials down there, and they seriously lowered their standards by going from Needle Rock one time, and then they went to Arby's the next.
Lunch.
And then on the disbursements, the 700 to Susan Leon.
That's for cleaning town hall. That's a monthly charge. Thanks, Carrie.
How come that one's not on the payroll?
She's an independent contractor.
Okay. And the $800 and $983 to Lasting Impressions?
That's
Trustee Budinger?
uniforms. Isn't that the uniforms for the badges, for the new lasting impressions?
The $600 is for badges, and the second one is for uniforms.
And the phones that's on the disbursement? PHONZ, one's for $1237, one's for $402.
Ms. Jones?
Phones, the first one is our monthly fee for office support and our computer support. And the second one was to convert all of our computers so we can do remote work remotely. That is COVID related.
And the Lucian Pavic for $486.
He's working on his sidewalks,
Sidewalk.
and we're paying him for the work that he's doing.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions from any other board member regarding disbursements? Yes, Trustee Patterson.
What is Brown Hill Engineering?
Ms. Jones, you wish to answer that?
They are designing our SCADA system for the sewer plant.
Any other questions from members of the board? I am not hearing anything. Any questions from members of the public regarding disbursements?
I have a question.
Yes,
Suzanne
Ms.
Watson. So that was interesting about the sidewalk. I thought the policy was to pay the homeowner for the concrete delivery. Are you now reimbursing homeowners for work on the sidewalks?
Yes, Administrator Ferguson.
So for clarification, the specific to Lucien Pavek and for anyone else, the town has a sidewalk grant reimbursement policy, which allows for up to $500. The town will reimburse 50% of the cost of the concrete material. And that is what his reimbursement check was for.
Oh, good. That's good to know. And what is that through? What organization has given us that grant?
It's a grant that's provided by the town to the homeowner.
Oh, I just spent $2,000 pruning a right-of-way tree. Is there any money for me? That was a lot of money to stomach at this point in time, and I'm wondering if we're taking care of public property on our own dime, is there a way that we can be reimbursed for that?
Not currently, but we could discuss it outside of the meeting.
Okay, and I also want to know, when was this grant for sidewalks set up? How was that decided and voted on?
It's been ongoing for over 20 years and it was adopted via resolution in 2007.
Okay, I just thought it had to do with the cement truck, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from members of the public regarding disbursements? I am not hearing anything. We have a motion and a second to approve disbursements. I'll need a roll call vote.
Trustee Backren?
Aye.
Trustee Bear?
Aye.
Trustee Bettinger?
Aye.
Trustee Deal?
Aye.
Trustee Knutson?
Aye.
Trustee Patterson?
Aye.
That motion carries, and we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is unfinished business, the AMCO municipal bond sale review and decision. Looks like we have Tim Hintz and also Mark Deraney from AMCO with us. And my understanding is the town has received 4 bids for its bonds, and that the winning bid was submitted by Bernardi Securities. It's also my understanding that the average interest rate is 2.98%. Our current rate is 4.375. And so we're looking at a savings over the life of the bonds of roughly $300,000. I don't know if Mr. Deraney, is that how you pronounce your name, sir?
It is. Yes.
Okay. Whether you wish to comment at this point, or whether Mr. Hintz wishes to comment, or you would have us go forward with the resolution. Yes, Administrator Ferguson.
Apologies, Charles. Just quickly, we do have a high number of attendees that have called in, and I just wanted to announce again real quick that anyone that is listening via the telephone that wishes to make a public comment during that opportunity, you have to press *9 on your phone to raise your hand, at which time your call would be unmuted and the panelists, the board members, and anyone else would be able to hear your question. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. And from previous conversation with Mr. Deraney, I believe Mr. Hintz is going to take the lead on the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hintz? Oh, we haven't lost it?
Technology.
Are you there? It's Deraney, it's Mark.
Well, Mr. Deraney, I think you're on the spot.
I am on the spot. I've actually been backing Tim up. I do a lot of the back office work on these bonds, and I'm the one that submitted them for bids. I'll just give you kind of a high-level overview, if that's okay. We on the 1st of April, our plan was that we would bring bids to the town on April 9th. We submitted the bonds to the open market through 2 primary calendars. One is the Bloomberg calendar, and one is from a company called iPrio. It's a parity calendar that also is used for the underwriters to submit the bids. We got feedback almost immediately that the timing didn't make a whole lot of sense in this erratic bond market that we had, and that the 9th was probably a little too soon, before too many days prior to this meeting. So we pulled it from the 9th and submitted it back to the market for the 13th, which was yesterday. We did receive 4 bids on the bonds. We're actually super excited that we got 4 bids. Most of the bonds that we've done in Colorado are done by D.A. Davidson and Northlands, who both bid on these bonds. But we also got 2 additional bids that we weren't kind of expecting, to be honest. Bernardi Securities was one, and Robert Baird and Company, both of whom we've worked with several times in the past on different bond on bids and things like that. They're all great companies. Bernardi Securities came in at about 0.5% better than the lowest, or the worst, if you will, bids of the 4. We ran the numbers, and as Mr. Mayers indicated, the net savings after all of the costs of issuance, after using the debt service reserve for a final payment, comes out to about $300,000 over the life of the bonds. So we were really, really excited about that. Those numbers were actually better than we had presented way back when we first started having these discussions. So we're pretty pleased. The market, the bond market, is super erratic right now, as you guys probably would understand. What you've seen with the stock market going up and down, and things are kind of crazy out there. So we didn't really know what to expect, but we were very, very pleased with the bids that we got back, and to take the USDA loans from the 4 3/8 or 4.375%, and set up these new bonds at under 3% on a weighted average basis. I don't know that we could have asked for too much more, especially given the current scenario with COVID and whatnot. So we were very pleased about that. There's a lot of information, I believe, in your packets. I don't know exactly what everyone is seeing there. We didn't have any intent of going through all of it, but we definitely wanted to be here. If you've seen the information, we would love to answer any questions. I have responded to several questions from trustees last night, and even today we met with the Finance Committee this afternoon, and we felt we had good support for moving forward with the bonds.
Okay, questions from members of the board for Mr. Durrani? Yes, Trustee Knudsen.
I just wanted to give some background to that. We had the Personnel Finance Committee had a discussion about the timing of this bond, and we pushed it to Monday, where the original setup was to have the bond bids come in on Thursday and we get it into the packet. And the problem with that was, given the volatility of the market, we were advised by Mark and Tim that that was not a good way to go. It allowed too much uncertainty. And so we moved it all the way to Monday, which is why we're getting it at the last minute. The second decision we made is we decided to go straight out for bids and not to use an agent. We didn't feel that the council had authorized either Karen or I or the treasurer to go out through an agent. And so we felt more comfortable just going straight for bids, and I think it worked out well. Thank you.
Other questions or comments from members of the board? Yes, Trustee Budinger.
And Treasurer King has recommended that, and the Personnel and Finance Committee also joins in the recommendation that we accept these bids, the bid of Bernardi and Securities, and sign the, and I move that we sign the official bid form letter of acceptance.
Okay, let's make sure that we have the motion in proper terms. One, it is a motion to accept the bid of Bernardi Securities, and I would also presume that is a motion to adopt the resolution which was provided to the board, and specifically that resolution was titled Resolution Authoring Issuance, Awarding Sale, describing the form and details, and providing for the payment of $1,650,000 water and sewer revenue refunding bond, series 2020A. Is that the motion?
That's the motion. I do not have that resolution in front of me, so I won't repeat it.
Okay. Mr. Durrani, anything else that we need formally to do other than making it clear that we are accepting the bid of Bernardi Securities and adopting the resolution?
I don't believe so. The resolution would need to be executed, and also the bid form would be executed after the motion and hopefully approval.
Okay. Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Discussion from members of the board. Yes, Trustee Bear.
I think my question is more for Cindy, but of the three major bonding or lending that the town has right now, with RUS loan, the CWR PDA, and the WPA loan, which loans are we paying off on that with this funding?
This is just to pay off the USDA loan, which is for the sewer plant.
And which one is that? Is that they're in the last audit as RUS loan, the CWR PDA, and the WPA.
It'd be the first one that you said.
Okay, so it's the RUS. Okay, and then the second question I have is, this is going to pay off the sewer loan, but yet the bonding agreements require us to the water and the sewer revenues be held as the collateral on these. So
that is the way that the USDA is set up, so it's not changing that portion at all.
So, okay, so you're saying that the USDA set it up this way as well, so we're not changing any language?
That's correct.
Any other questions or comments from members of the board? I'm not hearing anything. Questions or comments from members of the public?
We do have a hand up.
I do not see any hands up.
We do have one. I'm not sure if it was an intentional hand.
Mr. Nerlin.
Please speak up.
I was just, there's a hand showing. I was just trying to acknowledge that.
Okay, Mr.
Yes,
Nerlin.
I do.
Do we have
see
any
the
member of
hand.
the public that wishes to address this issue? Okay, I am hearing no one. We have a motion and a second to award the bid to Bernardi Securities and adopt the resolution authorizing the issuance, awarding sale, prescribing the form and details, providing for the payment of $1,650,000 water and sewer revenue refunding bond series 2020A. I'll need a roll call vote.
Trustee Backren?
Aye.
Trustee Bear?
Aye.
Trustee Budinger?
Aye.
Trustee Deal?
Aye.
Trustee Knutson? Trustee Knutson?
Aye.
Trustee Pattison?
Aye.
That motion carries. Mr. Durrani, thank you very much for your efforts in making this happen, and you're welcome to leave, or you're welcome to stick around, whichever you so desire. Ms. Jones, a quick question.
I just wanted to thank Mark and Tim for all that they did and made this fairly simple compared to how it could have been. So I really, really appreciate all that they did and all their support and hand-holding.
Trustee Knudsen. You need to unmute yourself.
I just wanted to mention the work that Tim and Mark both did. They really helped simplify it. I think they did a great job with the questions that Michelle raised, which were really good questions, and the ones that Trustee Budinger raised. Also, the heroic work of Cindy and also our town administrator on this.
Okay, thank you all. And we will move forward to the next item on the agenda. That is Resolution 2020 to be determined, encouraging community to wear face coverings while in public. Oh, nope, I take that back. We're at the North Fork of the Gunnison River, West Vein repair. Please, excuse me. I was jumping ahead. The next item on the agenda is a North Fork of Gunnison River, West Vein repair contract award. The exposed sewer pipe within the river near Samuel Wade Bridge is in need of repair. The town has received 5 bids, and it's my understanding that the recommendation of the Public Works Committee and staff is that the contract be awarded to Roop Excavating in the amount of $31,600. Administrator Ferguson, you wish to address this?
You're correct. That is our recommendation, and we did meet with the Public Works Committee via a video meeting and had this discussion along with some other items. And I would defer to either member of the Public Works Committee if they wish to provide any information regarding our meeting.
Does either member of the Public Works Committee wish to speak to this? Yes, Trustee Bear.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we did meet with the staff on the 9th to discuss this particular issue. We asked questions about the bidding process to make sure that it was fair, that everybody was bidding their bids and that they were basically opened at the last minute, so there's only no chance for anybody else to take a look at them. And the only thing I would call Joanne's attention to would be the fact that Root Construction did not sign and date their bid, so, with that change, they signed and dated it, and I would recommend that we approve the Root Construction to do this work.
Trustee Deal, anything you'd like to add to that?
No, Bill had the same recommendation that I did. I saw that Root Construction didn't sign and date, so that would be the only thing that I would add.
Mr. Loberg, anything you'd like to add?
I did talk with Roop about the not signing it, and he is aware of it, and he is willing to sign it and date it.
Okay. Yes, Trustee, excuse me, Administrator Ferguson. I think you need to be unmuted.
Muted, correct.
Oops, sorry about that. The one thing I would add is that a request that when and if the board makes a determination and you make a motion to approve, that we make that motion contingent upon the receipt of the permit from the Army Corps of Engineers. We don't have that yet. We are expecting it prior to the next meeting, but we do want to make sure that contingency is in there. So when we go to the winning bid, they know that while they've been awarded, we can't start the project until we receive the permit.
Okay. Based on that, I would entertain a motion to award the contract to Roop Excavating in the amount of $31,600 contingent upon Roop signing and dating the proposal and contingent upon receipt of the permit from the Army Corps of Engineers.
Mr. Mayor, I would make that motion, and I'm not going to repeat it because you did a very eloquent job of presenting it.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Any discussion from the board? Yes, Trustee Patterson.
I just wanted to confirm with staff and Public Works that in what is likely to be a lower sales tax income and a challenging budget year for us, that this is still a high priority project.
Yeah, Administrator, how about Trustee Baird, and then we'll go to Administrator Ferguson. Trustee Baird.
Well, I believe that this is a high priority project in the fact that the sewer line is exposed into the river. We have the potential to suffer penalties for this. This is coming out of the water or out of the sewer budget, not out of any budgets that's dependent upon sales tax. And we did speak about this in budget season and the need to get this done.
Administrator Ferguson, would you like to comment?
I concur. He said what I was going to say.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion on the part of the board? I am not hearing anything. Anything from the public in regard to awarding this contract to Roop Excavating? Is that Ms. Watson?
Hi. Yeah, hi.
Go
This
ahead.
is Suzanne Watson. I was a little concerned. First of all, I thought I heard you say you had 5 bids, but I only saw 3 in the packet, number 1. Is that correct? Did we have 5 or did we have 3?
Administrator Ferguson.
We solicited 5 contractors, 3 submitted bids.
Okay. And then my other concern is it's the instructions for completing the bid is they're pretty clear. And I know Roop has been doing work. He's kind of the go-to guy for all these town projects. He's been doing work and submitting bids for years now. And his inability to follow the directions makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, I think he should know better. He needs to sign and date it, because to me, when I see that, I mean, and the staff should be stamping things when they come into the office. Only 1 bid had a notation of when it was actually handed in. But I don't like to see this incomplete form, and I wonder about his ability to follow directions, especially after the Clark Avenue debacle. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from members of the public? I am not hearing anything. We have a Motion and a second to award the contract to Roop Excavating in the amount of $31,600, contingent upon Roop Excavating signing and dating the proposal, and contingent upon receipt of the permit from the Army Corps of Engineers. I'll need a roll call vote.
Trustee Baccarin?
Aye.
Trustee Bear?
Aye.
Trustee Bettinger? Trustee Bettinger?
You
Aye.
can unmute yourself.
Aye.
Thank you.
Trustee Deal?
Aye.
Trustee Knudsen?
Aye.
Trustee Pattison?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries, and we will move on to the next item, which is new business, Resolution 2020 to be determined, encouraging community to wear face coverings while in public. In the packet is a proposed resolution drafted by Mr. Nerlin, which encourages the wearing of masks in places of conveyance open to the public and such other indoor, outdoor places where social distancing cannot be maintained. There's also a memo in the packet from Mr. Nerlin regarding the difference between a resolution and an ordinance. The resolution would encourage the wearing of masks while the ordinance would mandate it. If we adopt this resolution, the ordinance, which is the next item on the agenda, would be moot, at least for now. So perhaps just to move this forward, I would entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 2020 to be determined, encouraging community to wear face coverings while in public. Does anyone wish to make that motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would move that we adopt Resolution 2020 to be determined, encouraging community to wear face coverings while in public.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion from members of the board. Yes, Trustee Knudsen.
I'm glad we're not going to do the ordinance, which would force people and also cause a issue as far as the police having to enforce it and fines and judges and all that stuff. The second thing, the mayor would have to shave his beard in order to properly wear a mask.
I agree wholeheartedly. Any other comments from members of the board? Yes, Trustee Deal.
I think there are plenty of recommendations from the state, federal government, and everybody else. The community knows, the people in the community knows that it's recommended. I really think that this is a waste of time, money, and effort for the board and the community to be even worrying about this. I don't think that this is really necessary, that we have to pass a resolution for this. I think it's ridiculous.
Any other comments, questions from members of the board? Yes, Trustee Knudsen.
I just wanted to point out that I have a 95-year-old mother-in-law that lives down in Delta, and she is extremely vulnerable during these times. It bothers me going into the stores, Don's, some of the other stores, Farm and Home. People don't wear masks. They're not being considerate. I think it's important that the town steps up and says something to this effect, encouraging our citizens to join in, because we're all in this together. I'm trying to protect her as much as possible. I really ask the community to join with us and try to protect our fellow citizens. You just saw today our court cases go from 7 to 12. So we're starting that exponential curve in Delta County. We also have Mesa County and Montrose County. Both have community spread right now. We don't have community spread yet, but I think if people are encouraged to wear masks, I think that'll set us in the right direction. I think this is really a worthwhile thing to encourage our fellow citizens to at least have the courtesy to do this. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from members of the board? Yes, Trustee Bachman.
And I agree with Trustee Knudsen on this point. I have noticed since the agenda was published and this has come out on Facebook that I have actually seen a lot more people wearing masks than I have previously. I don't know, last week I went into Indigo Autumn twice, and the only person in there wearing a mask was the person behind the counter. And I was pretty appalled about that. But now I'm seeing masks all over the street, and we really need to do this to protect each other. And it's not like you can't get a mask. I mean, there's still free masks at Town Hall, and you can just put a bandana over your face. So it's not a hardship on the community, and we're not forcing people to do this.
Any other questions or comments from members of the board? I am not hearing anything. I also feel that so far the county has dodged a bullet, but that could change, and it could change rapidly. So I think encouraging people to wear masks is appropriate. We are not mandating it. We are not going to be out there issuing tickets. It is simply a matter of encouraging people to do what they can to protect the safety of other members of the community. I think that is reasonable. Yes, Trustee Deal.
I think you can encourage people without a resolution.
Yeah, I guess that may be true, but that's kind of how the board acts. You know, as a practical matter, we act by passing resolutions or passing ordinances. I would be opposed to an ordinance, but I think a resolution is appropriate. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? I'm not hearing anything. Anything from the public in regard to this issue?
We have 2 attendees who would like to speak,
Okay.
of multiple. We have a lot of hands going up. So unfortunately, the only way I have to identify people who want to speak that haven't already identified themselves so that I can attach a name is by repeating the last 4 digits of the phone number that are associated with the call-in. We have 11 hands up, so I'm just going to start at the top and I'll unmute one at a time, Charles. The first person with a hand up to speak is the person with the phone number ending in 5550.
Okay, just to make sure too, since we have 11 people that wish to speak, I'm going to limit speakers to a minute. So hopefully try to make your statements concise. Okay, the first one was 5550.
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please identify yourself and feel free to begin
Melissa?
speaking.
I live on Pitkin Mesa. This is Melissa Brady. And so I am glad to hear that it's just a mandate, but I agree that it's unnecessary to further push onto people to wear a mask. I personally find it a little dehumanizing to see everyone in town with masks on. And I completely honor all of our elders and people who have compromised immune systems. But I just don't think that it's okay to demand that all healthy people, all people, cover their faces and behave in such a fearful way. So, yeah, I just really want to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
The next in line is Suzanne Watson.
Ms. Watson?
Hi, this is Suzanne Watson. I was wondering, this refers to the public when you are passing this resolution, but I was wondering how it applies to the staff and our town employees. After the governor's recommendation, I saw one of our police officers enter the home of some elderly people on a welfare check, and he was not protected. And I've heard of town employees shopping at City Market in Hotchkiss. We have closed our town hall for the town employees, yet when they've been in the public themselves, they haven't had the sense to wear masks. And I was wondering, I know that you're wanting to apply this to the town citizens, but what's your policy for town employees? Thank you.
Administrator Ferguson.
All staff has been informed that they should be wearing masks when they are in public and are not able to maintain social distancing. I have not provided any direction other than we should all be good examples for any staff when they are not working and on town hours, such as shopping at City Market. I don't feel it would be appropriate for me to tell them that they are required to wear a mask when they are outside of their working hours. And so town staff is and should be wearing masks when they are out in public and working.
In
Okay, the
Paonia,
next-
but no. Okay, thanks.
Okay, the next person that wishes to comment?
There are more comments, just a moment, sorry. The next phone number is 4343.
Hi, this is Patrick McCarney, and I'm actually sharing this phone with my brother Michael McCarney, who's here as well. I just wanted to share that in the Czech Republic, they did a mandate on wearing masks, and they've had very little problem with the coronavirus. And since we are 45 minutes from a hospital with a large elderly population, I think it's a great idea to recommend everyone to wear a mask and do the resolution, and to even consider the mandate, because it's not a problem until it's a problem, and then it flies through the community. And as someone just mentioned, there's already town staff that, you know, are well aware of the CDC and Trump saying that you're recommended to wear a mask at this point in time. And they're not wearing a mask, and they're in the center of the information. And so one further point that I would like to bring up is that many people that are completely healthy are carriers of it. And this is generally common knowledge, but what the Czech Republic said is by people that are healthy wearing a mask that may have the coronavirus, they're not spreading it. And by people that are, immune compromised, they're not getting it. So you're just cutting the chances way, way down for people to get it if people are wearing masks. So that's my comment. Hope it is helpful.
Thank you, sir. Who's next?
The next caller ends with numbers 3957.
Hi, this is Chris Kendall on Minnesota Creek Road. You know, I don't have a problem wearing a mask. I do have a problem with being mandated or an ordinance saying we have to. The governor's already said that we should all be doing it, so has the president. They've also stated that we shouldn't be going out unless we need to get something, and we should restrict our visitations to the stores to the least amount that we can to contain this. And I don't really see that I feel like it's a waste of money and time to do it if we have to. People need to take care of themselves and do it themselves without having to be told to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make clear that everyone understands that the resolution that is on the table right now would encourage wearing a mask. It would not mandate wearing a mask. So I just want to make sure that that is clear to everyone that is listening. Who's next?
Deborah.
Deborah
Yes.
still here. Yes, I agree with wearing a mask and making it strongly suggested that people do. So short and sweet. That's all I want to say.
Do we have anyone else?
Yes, next number ends in 8484.
Go ahead.
Eight four eight four.
We'll move on to the next person.
Next is D Million.
Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. A group of us started Mask Up the North Fork over a month ago, and we have almost 200 members. And we all advocate very much for wearing a mask. There's a group of us who are creating and sewing masks like crazy. There's been studies that show that this virus, of course, you could be asymptomatic and spread it and not even know you're perfectly healthy, but you still have it and you spread it. So there's also been studies showing that it can be just by talking or breathing can give it. So we highly recommend that the city does something in advertising, posting, recommending, not recommending, strongly recommending, and maybe even figuring out like what percentage, giving a positive message, like 80% of your neighbors are in favor of this. We did a poll here, and of course we don't want people to get fined or put to jail for not doing that, for not wearing a mask. But I think if the city could create a really good advertising technique to really encourage with positive messages so that everybody sees the necessity of wearing masks. So thank you. I'd like to know what kind of a plan you're going to do as far as posting on Facebook or posting, posters in town. How you're going to do that? How are you going to recommend?
Thank you. Administrator Ferguson, you wish to respond to that at all?
I can, of course, reiterate that we do postings on town hall windows to update for recommendations and information regarding to the virus and the goings on right now in our community and all of our neighboring communities. We do post via the town's social media page, which is Facebook, and on the town website, as well as I am currently in the process of finishing a letter that's going out to open businesses and places within the community, advising them to encourage and to post reminders for people to wear masks as encouraged by the state, the governor, CDPHE, and the federal government, as well as recommending and requesting that open businesses that have outdoor seating areas and congregating areas remove their seating and congregating areas while we're under a stay-at-home order, only because I have received multiple calls and information from people about people congregating primarily when they're going to a local business, specifically restaurants, and ordering takeout at the location and waiting for it. So I am encouraging businesses and restaurants specifically to encourage their customers to call in their order ahead of time to reduce the amount of time that they are out in public during the stay-at-home order.
Next person. Thank you. The next individual, Ms. Ferguson.
Yes, the next number is 2000.
Hello, my name is Matt Eland. I live at 3rd and Delta. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you for everyone being present here, because it's clearly evident that we all care about our community and making sure that we're healthy and informed. One thing that I would like to bring up is that everyone keeps saying masks, but they truly are meaning face covering. So I work in the hospital at Montrose Memorial as a registered nurse, and there are varying degrees of fabric weave that would be preventable in terms of allowing a virus to come in. Everyone's familiar with like the N95. So I would strongly encourage people that if they are concerned about spreading a virus or being a contagion or anything like that, that they look at the quality of the material that they're using, because like tie-dye t-shirt is not equivalent to an N95, and that's not equivalent to a surgical mask. So please be aware that if this is a strong concern, which obviously we're all very concerned about this, you need to be aware of the material you're using, and then also practicing just good cough hygiene in general. And if you are having symptoms, you need to self-quarantine.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, and
Apologies.
Please go ahead and finish if there was something else you'd like to say.
Yes, just a moment and I will unmute him. One moment, sir. Let me find you back on here. There you are. Sorry, Mr. Eland, go ahead.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say I appreciate that it is currently an encouragement as opposed to a mandatory ordinance. because I feel like that would set us up to be on a very slippery slope in terms of like a medical martial law precedent. So thank you all for being open to encouraging and having good communication with our community members to make sure we're all healthy and happy and take care of Paonia and the North Fork.
Yeah, thank you for your comments. Who's next?
Okay, the next number is 7874.
Yes, hello, good evening. My name is Brent Sutherland from German Creek Lane. I'm an 18-year service vet. I'm a current OIC of a Naval Reserve unit with 3 sailors deployed, 2 on the Comfort and 1 on the Mercy. And I also work for an organization. I'm a COVID-19 prevention team member for a facility that employs about half the population of Paonia. So I have a little bit of knowledge and background in this. What the gentleman previously said about the quality and actual designations of the face covering, or in the case of the N95 respirator, it does make a difference. And really what we've found from, we actually have 5 presumed positives in my current facility. The best way to move for prevention is just effective communication. I'm definitely for the resolution that encourages the wearing of masks, but obviously for similar reasons to the last gentleman, opposed to the mandate. If you look at the actual revised statute, Title 31, it's very vague. In the military, we build our orders based off of doctrine, and that doctrine right now in this instance would be given by the CDC. The CDC's is just a recommendation to wear masks. So anytime you start building policy or standing orders like an ordinance, you risk multiple lawsuits. So I want to give that to the members and definitely encourage the communication, and hopefully everybody stays safe.
Now, thank you for your comments. Do we have other people that wish to comment?
Yes, we still have 8 hands. The next
Okay.
number is 7449.
Yeah, Tamara Hardesty, 311 Poplar in Paonia. I had a couple of thoughts. I wanted to kind of just thank Trustees Knudsen and Bachgren for their earlier comments. Masks have been proven to prevent the spread of a virus from me to someone else. So the point of the mask is to protect others, and I'm kind of appalled that we even have to be talking about doing mandates, taking care of the vulnerable in our community. But I would note that overnight, the cases in Delta County, as noted, I believe, by Trustee Knudsen, went from 5 to 12. And most of those were teenagers that were hanging out. We've seen multiple studies now that show up to half to 60% of all pre-symptomatic people are spreading this. So you feel healthy. It's kind of irrelevant. You could still be spreading it. On that note, a resolution is nice. It's a good example. But I actually favor the ordinance because it's discretionary whether you would ticket someone. It adds teeth to it. Otherwise, it's just a feel-good movement. If there's an ordinance, it gives enforcement as an option. So if education doesn't work, if you see people congregating closely without masks, and Paonia PD says, hey, you really shouldn't do this, there are free masks at Town Hall, and they get flack or flipped off or whatever people do, you then would have a ticketable offense. And finally, I would note, Mesa County Public Health Department issued a ordinance with teeth hitting the other side of this, which I believe Trustee Bachgren addressed, that to be an essential service right now is kind of, you're getting a loophole into everyone else staying home. You also have a follow-up obligation. And the Mesa County Public Health Ordinance that went into effect on the 13th says all essential businesses must adhere to the guidelines, including masks on all their staff, limiting the number of people that can enter a store. Basically, it's putting at a county level, or in our case, a town level, the ability to enforce what is currently supposed to be happening. So employers would have to tell their employees to wear masks. Maybe we should look at that end of it.
Thank you.
And that's all.
Then the next person.
The next number is 4439.
Hi there. My name is Olivia Rose. There's a lot of things I've caught on to this evening in words that I'd love to reply to. I know to keep it limited, so I will. But first of all, being a business that has still been open, I was not given any mandate to have to wear a mask. And frankly, I like to have the right, especially with what America was founded upon, having these rights to be able to make that choice. You can practice correct sanitization without needing to do something like that. And I've heard the words encouraged and recommended, and it's the first lovely lady that got to speak this evening said. I definitely feel more at ease that it's a mandate and not something that is going to be forced upon the people. I also heard, and I would like clarification on employees should be wearing masks in public out of business hours. I definitely want to know if that is something that is being enforced or, again, something that is only being recommended. And I definitely understand and empathize with people worrying about their elders. I heard a trustee refer to his 95-year-old mother. And of course, we're all worried about the people that are susceptible and vulnerable to being sick, whether it's the coronavirus or any virus. But that's why the people who are susceptible should be practicing social distancing and wearing masks. And the people who aren't shouldn't be affecting those who are practicing that, because you wouldn't be affected. And I just want everybody to remember that fear feeds fear. And the one thing I love about the community is the sense of love and togetherness and spirituality and essence that lies here. And I want us to remember that and not feed into this fear-mongering bull honky. And I love you all very much. And we're going to get through this, whatever happens. And thank you.
Thank you. Who is next?
The next telephone number is 9701.
Hello?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Please
hi.
identify yourself and speak.
My name is Heather Eland, and I just wanted to say that I am in favor of the resolution. I think it's great to encourage people to, just exercise good cautions and things like that, so long as we're encouraging them based on factual information. As my husband told you guys a little bit before me, these masks that we're using, if they're made out of t-shirts and bandanas and things like that, they actually do not prevent the transmission of viruses. And so I think we need to make our recommendations based on science and facts rather than fear. That being said, I think the recommendation is great. I am strongly, strongly opposed to having our rights infringed upon through a mandated ordinance that requires us to wear these masks, especially when most of the masks that we're wearing do not prevent the transmission of viruses. And so that's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Who's next?
The next number is 7017.
Hi, this is Sherry Braslin, and I'm out on Bone Mesa. Just like the previous caller said, and her husband before, I guess, is that there is 0% effectiveness with cloth masks. Unless you actually have an N95 or a surgical mask, you're giving false sense of security out there. So people are going to go out there and think that they have protection. You're actually promoting a false sense of security for people. And masks are doing 0. Sponge mask, cloth mask, even a mask with a carbon filter in there is only 10% effective. Cloth mask is 0 for viruses. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Who's next?
The next is 8484.
Hi, this is Christina Patterson. I'm glad it sounds like we've all stepped back from the ordinance, actually, because
felt that was incredibly far-reaching. The resolution's fine, but it seems like it's already in place under the county, state, and federal mandates. And can't you just post the state and federal recommendations? They're already in place. I'm not sure you're passing a resolution that's sort of the same thing that's already existing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Who's next?
The next is 6168.
Yes, this is Renee Atchley on 41169 Lamborn Drive. I'd just like to say thank you for just doing the resolution. I was a little hot today, thinking that you were going to try to do an ordinance. I'm not against wearing a mask. In fact, I do wear a mask. I just believe that the town does not have the ability to enforce an ordinance when they can't enforce the ordinance of a dog leash. So thank you very much for stepping back from the ordinance, the resolution for encouragement. We have heard from the president and from our governor, and I think we're getting the picture. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
The next number is 4295. 4295.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Hi, this is my name is Melanie Wolf, and I live at 208 Colorado Avenue in Paonia. And I will make it quick. I'm a nurse also, and I've seen a lot of cases, and it's definitely not a disease that you want to contract. It's very lethal for young people as well as older people. And I don't believe that masks are completely 0% effective. I don't agree with that. But I will say that if you cough or sneeze, some of those particles are definitely going to be in your mask if it's even a cloth mask. I think it's really important for our community to adopt this. I guess I am conflicted on the mandated piece of it as far as the high fine. But I also think it's really important for us to continue to wear masks to prevent the spread of this. Lots of countries have done this and done it very successfully and have definitely slowed the spread of this virus. So it is effective at some level. I'm not going to debate what level that is, but it is effective. I think it's very important for us to do this as a community and to save lives. And also we really don't have a lot of medical facilities in our area in Paonia. It's 35 minutes to Delta County, and I think there's 6 ICU beds. So if we did have an outbreak in our small community with the number of elderly citizens we would have a real problem. So that is my fear. I just think we need to continue to wear the mask and definitely practice socially distancing, which is also in addition to wearing a mask. And just be good citizens and do what we're told. I don't understand why this is such a big deal for people. I think it's really important and to do this for the common good, because it doesn't really affect people, it seems like, until a loved one dies, and then they realize, oh wow, this is kind of important that we do this. So whatever we can do, if it's wearing a mask, wear a mask. I don't think that should be that big of a deal, but that's just my opinion. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else that wishes to comment?
One more hand, and this is number 8888.
Yeah, hi, my name is Michael. I live up in Apple Valley. I just wanted to, give my, I'd like to condone the wearing of masks and the recommendation that you guys are proposing. I think that it's easy enough, and during this international pandemic, I have read various articles in many of the credible publications that do show countries that have decreased their amount of cases due to people wearing masks. And a lot of that research is based off of just, cough, sneezes, and other things where a lot of the droplets are contained and they're spread less. Yes, they can spread through masks, but it is spread less. And so I would say recommending it is important. And I think it's a big enough crisis that the inconvenience of wearing it, I think, outweighs the benefits. So that's all.
Okay, thank you. we have anyone else who wishes to comment? Okay, it appears that we do not. We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2020 to be determined, encouraging the community to wear face coverings while in public. We will need a roll call vote.
Trustee Backren?
Aye.
Trustee Bear? Trustee Bear?
Aye.
Trustee Bettinger?
Aye.
Trustee Deal?
Nay.
What was that?
Nay.
Trustee Knudsen?
Aye.
Trustee Pattison?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Item 9, which is ordinance 2020 to be determined, requiring community to wear face coverings while in public and declaring an emergency, is now, in my opinion, moot. I would entertain a motion to table item 9. Yes, Trustee Knudsen.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to table item 9.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Anything further from the public specific to the motion to table? I'm not hearing anything. We'll need a roll call vote.
Trustee Backren?
Aye.
Trustee Bear?
Aye.
Trustee Bettinger?
Aye.
Trustee Deal?
Aye.
Trustee Knudsen?
Aye.
Trustee Pattison?
Aye.
That motion carries. Item 9 is tabled. Item 10 was tabled at the very beginning of the meeting. Therefore, we will proceed to committee reports, finance and personnel. Trustees Bettinger and Knudsen.
Nothing further to report.
Hang on half a second, Trustee Knudsen. Yes, Trustee Deal, you had a question or comment?
We went over the meeting minutes for the meeting on the 10th, but we didn't go over the meeting minutes for the 2 special meetings that we had.
They are included in the consent calendar. So when we voted for the consent calendar, we voted on all items on the consent calendar.
Gotcha.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Trustee Knudsen.
I just wanted to point out that the item on section 803 of the Personnel Code, we've delayed that given the current circumstances, and we'll take that up later.
Trustee Bettinger, anything to add?
Nothing, thank you.
What about Public Works, Utilities, Facilities? Trustee Bear and Deal.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we met with the staff via telephone on the 9th. Of course, one of the subjects of discussion was the W. Vane project, which we voted on tonight, and some of the other subjects for Travis has already mentioned. One of the projects that's coming up and will be brought up at a later meeting, I'm sure, is the SCADA project and fixing the 1 million gallon tank, so we have a reliable system up there. And I think that everything else has been covered.
Thank you. Trustee Deal, anything to add? Okay, I'm not hearing her, so I will presume that she has nothing to add. Government Affairs, Public Safety, Trustee Patterson and Bachman.
I have nothing to report. I'd just like to check with Chief Ferguson if he's still available to see if we have had any progress communicating with the local vet.
No, at this point in time, everything has been on hold. So we'll pick it up as soon as we can again.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Bachman, anything to add? Okay. Tree Board, Trustee Bachman?
Yes, we met yesterday and we have decided that Arbor Day will be May 1st at noon at Apple Valley Park. A tree will be planted in honor of Jordan Chevenet at that point in time. Attendance will be the 5 members of the tree board a reporter / photographer, so that makes 6, and the Chevenet family, which makes 9 people. And we will practice social distancing and wear our masks during this planting. The poster contest is still on. Paonia Elementary will get us the posters and we will mail them off to Broomfield by the end of the month in time for the contest. And at the present time, we still have to get the bylaw changes to the board, but again, that's not essential and we can do that at a later time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Space to Create, Trustee Bachram.
Nothing to report.
Trustee Knudsen, there's something you wish to say?
I just noticed that CML, or one of the organizations, is putting on a workshop for newly elected officials. I wanted to make sure those that are newly elected would get that on their calendars. I don't have the date right in front of me.
Yeah, if folks that have been elected could contact Ms. Ferguson. She may have the date right now, but that is an extremely helpful course to take. Yes, Mr. Administrator Ferguson.
I will add that, yes, I am putting together that information, and we are in the process right now of creating the email addresses for the newly soon to be elected. Right now, those are still unofficial results until after the canvass. And I also wanted to make you aware that we have a hand up from Ms. Watson. I believe it was up for the tree board.
Yes, Ms. Watson.
Hi. I wanted to ask the Governmental Affairs Committee something, actually, and I didn't get the chance. But I wanted to ask if you could look at the meeting protocol and standards of conduct. That was page 3 in the packet, and to Governmental Affairs to see if they're aligned with the resolution 2017-10. That would be helpful. The comments I had at the very beginning.
Okay,
Thank you.
Any other business that we need to attend to before I entertain a motion to adjourn? I am not hearing anything. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
You have a second? I'm sorry, who was the second from?
Budinger.
Okay. We will need a roll call vote.
Trustee Bachram?
Aye.
Trustee Bear?
Aye.
Trustee Bettinger?
Aye.
Trustee Deal?
Aye.
Trustee Knudsen?
Aye.
Trustee Pattison?
Aye.
That motion passes. We are adjourned. Stay healthy, and we'll see you all later. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.